The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. A rush to register, scores of Bahamians racing to the Parliamentary Registration Department as the Prime Minister dodges questions about an earlier than usual election. The Prime Minister also saying he won't increase taxes if re-elected, and he declares the pandemic over for the vaccinated. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, July 20th, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Don Sargent will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll be talking with the Tourism Development Corporation about BASE, their Bahamas Association of Shore Experiences. We'll get all the details about that and what you need to know. And then later in Morning Blend Business, we are talking with the Bahamas engineers, architects, and allied professionals. And they have a special webinar coming up this week, reimagining the construction industry. We're going to get into a great discussion about that this morning. That's all straight ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, as speculation of an early election grew, a flood of residents descending onto the Parliamentary Registration Department, hoping to register or change their address so they can vote in the upcoming election. The register closes the day before the dissolution of Parliament. When the Nassau Guardian visited the department yesterday, more than 30 people were waiting outside the building. Some residents said they were waiting for as long as 3 hours, even when a light rain showered the area. Around noon yesterday, the crowd remained still. Many of the residents we spoke with said they rushed to the department or its other sites after hearing reports that Prime Minister Dr. Menace may dissolve Parliament this week and call the election. While denying that he intends to raise taxes if the FNM is re-elected to govern, Prime Minister Menace brushing off PLP leader Philip Davis's claims that the next general election will be announced this week. He said, quote, "Only the Prime Minister makes such decisions." He went on to say, quote, "The PLP unfortunately is always in denial, and they have demonstrated that in 1992 when the FNM won the government. They were in denial and saying that it's only temporary. They demonstrated that again in 2007 when they refused to accept defeat. So I'm not surprised by the statement made by the leader of the opposition. But the leader of the opposition is not the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister makes those decisions, not him." When asked about the dissolution of Parliament this week, the Prime Minister again said that only he can make that decision, not the leader of the opposition. On Thursday night, the FNM ratified its remaining 4 candidates for the election, including Minnis. The next general election is not due until May 2022. However, there's mounting speculation that the Prime Minister may call an early election. Last week, the Prime Minister instructed his party candidates to go out and campaign because the next election is coming soon, according to individuals who attended that meeting. The opposition leader also said that the Prime Minister will likely increase taxes if they are re-elected. Minister responding to this yesterday, saying, quote, "There is no such thing. We would increase no such thing. We have presented our budget already. We have presented the financial program, the financial policies, and I'm happy to announce that the financial policies are working and we are ahead of our revenue projections." More from the Prime Minister yesterday. He declared that there is no pandemic for vaccinated Bahamians. He said, quote, "Yes, the numbers of COVID infections are increasing, and yes, it is concerning. It demonstrates that we are still in the pandemic. The one thing the Bahamian populace must understand, we're in 2 pandemics. The vaccinated individuals are now out of the pandemic. The pandemic is finished for the vaccinated individuals. The unvaccinated individuals are still in the pandemic, and therefore it's essential for us to be aggressive, of which we're doing, to aggressively pursue vaccines so we can vaccinate our populace as quickly and efficiently as possible so that they too can move into the vaccinated portion and plus the non-pandemic." In other news, police investigating an armed robbery yesterday that went viral on social media. Happened in the Harper Bay Shopping Center. Shortly after 11 a.m., videos began circulating showing a man being robbed outside CIBC First Caribbean Bank in the plaza. Police saying they have seen the video as well and that it will be of assistance to them. They're also appealing to the public who may have information to come forward. Overseas, India's excess deaths during the pandemic could be a staggering 10 times the official COVID-19 toll, likely making it modern India's worst human tragedy. That's according to the most comprehensive research yet on the ravages of the virus in the South Asian country. Most experts believe India's official toll of more than 414,000 dead is a vast undercount, but the government has dismissed those concerns as exaggerated and misleading. The report released today estimates excess deaths, the gap between those recorded and those that would have been expected, to be between 3 million to 4.7 million between January 2020 and June 2021. It said an accurate figure may prove elusive, but the true death toll is likely to be an order of magnitude greater than the official count. The report, published by the Indian government's former chief economic advisor and 2 other researchers at the Center for Global Development at Harvard University, said the count could have missed deaths occurring in overwhelmed hospitals or while healthcare was delayed or disrupted, especially during the devastating peak surge earlier this year. The partition of the British-ruled Indian subcontinent into independent India and Pakistan in 1947 led to the killing of up to 1 million people as gangs of Hindus and Muslims slaughtered each other. The report on India's virus toll used 3 calculation methods: data from the civil registration system that records births and deaths across 7 states, blood tests showing the prevalence of the virus in India alongside global COVID-19 fatality rates, and an economic survey of nearly 900,000 people done 3 times a year. In sports, Trilindria Thompson recently appointed as the women's soccer head coach of Team Bahamas in the Bahamas Football Association. She's looking to revive its national program. Thompson, no stranger to the local coaching scene, her first coaching experience in 2004 as an under-11 assistant coach at the BFA's Center of Excellence, where she served for 3 years. After being named head coach, Thompson assembled staff of assistants. You can read all about this and what they hope to do in today's Guardian Sports section. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, high pressure will remain the dominant weather feature across the country. Boaters, though, should be alert for possible waterspout activity, while beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents at east and south coast beaches, mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas. And again, residents being urged to limit outdoor activity as we're expecting high heat indices again. We're being told to remain hydrated as well. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny, hot, and breezy conditions across the central and southeast Bahamas, with scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms mainly in the northwest Bahamas today. Mostly fair and warm with the chance of a few passing showers or an isolated thunderstorm tonight. Smoke-craft caution remains in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Smoke-craft operators should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Wind southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots in the northwest Bahamas, east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots in the central and southeastern islands. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the northwest Bahamas, 4 to 7 feet in the central and southeastern islands. 82 degrees right now in Nassau, 82 in Freeport. Look for highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index will be high up to 108 Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
It's so summer with Esso, and that's why we're giving away thousands of dollars in fuel, food, and other fun prizes every week. Simply fuel up at $25 or more. Enter using your receipt, and you could be a winner this summer with Esso. Terms and conditions apply. Visit bettergasmileage.com/its-so-summer or our Facebook page for details. Promotion ends August 29th, 2021. It's fun! Food, fuel, and other great prizes every week. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details.
RBC Royal Bank introduces our new Saturday banking services on Saturday, July 17th at Cable Beach, Carmichael, and Prince Charles, operating 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. New services will focus on helping clients with advice-oriented needs and getting them more comfortable with RBC digital banking. Cash will only be available through our ATMs and accepted for deposits via our ATMs or non-stop depository services. If you have questions, call our advice center at 356-8500. Reimagine Saturday services with RBC.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With 4 stores all across Nassau on East Bay, West Bay, Old Fort Bay, and Palmdale, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796 on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC. Standard text rate supply. Coming up this morning, more weather and traffic. And in our 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking about BASE. That's the Bahamas Association of Shore Experiences. That's part of the Tourism Development Corporation. We're going to find out what that's all about and what you need to know if you should be a part of this. If you're not already, we're going to get details. Then later, we're talking with the BEAAP. That's the Bahamas Engineers, Architects, and Allied Professionals Association. They're going to be talking about their webinar coming up this week, Reimagining the Construction Industry in the Country. And I'm sure we're going to have a very interesting discussion this morning. That's coming up. So a lot to get to, but let's begin with Don Sargent, who's here with us this morning. Don, good morning.
Morning, Dwight.
Great to have you with us as always.
It's good to be alive.
Yes, hope you're doing well. All right, so let's get into it with what's in the news. And in the news, the Prime Minister speaking to the media yesterday, you know, that doesn't happen all the time, and had a lot to say, but not a lot at all. Does that make sense? Make any sense at all, Don? He said quite a few words, but...
Well, it's kind of like, you get a lot of words, but say a whole lot of nothing.
Yes. So he was asked about the things that are on it. A lot of people's minds. We've been talking about them for weeks, right? Whether there will be an election this year. The PLP is claiming that the government is going to raise taxes soon, especially if they win the election. Well, I mean, most of us believe that whichever government wins. Well, anyway, but he responds to that, and then he said some interesting things about the pandemic and the two pandemics that are going on. Right? All right. So we'll get into all of that. Let's begin with the big question. Are you going to call the election this week? Our Kyle Joaquin has more on that in this report.
Well, first of all, only the Prime Minister makes such a decision.
With both the opposition leader and House Speaker speculating that the Prime Minister could dissolve Parliament this week, Minnis told reporters today only he knows when the election will be. Despite direct questions, Minnis didn't give a straight answer, nor did he refute those claims.
It's the Prime Minister makes those decisions, not him.
And nothing coming this week then? No dissolving of Parliament this week?
The Prime Minister speaks, not the Leader of the Opposition. The Leader of the Opposition said there'll be dissolution. The Prime Minister did not say that.
But it was a different story on the campaign trail leading up to the 2017 general election, when Minnis, the then opposition leader promised a fixed election date. And now, with mounting speculation that an early election is imminent, the opposition has ramped up its calls for the bell to be rung, with Davis expecting it to happen as early as this week. Well, Minnis shut Davis and the PLP down quickly today.
The PLP, unfortunately, is always in denial, and they've demonstrated that in 1992 when the FNM won the government. They were in denial and saying that it's only temporary. They demonstrated that again in 2007 when they refused to accept defeat. So I'm not surprised with the statement made by the leader of the opposition. But the leader of the opposition is not the prime minister.
With COVID numbers on the rise again, Minnis was asked whether this would be a good time for there to be a general election.
I didn't say we will have an election now, you know.
This campaign.
We've been campaigning, yes, but we've been doing it in a responsible manner.
Now that there is a permanent register, there is a push for new voters to register. According to Minnis, new voters should be able to see what his administration has done, calling the PLP leader a thing of the past.
They can see the economy is growing. They can see that we are opening doors for them. They know they are well, right-thinking individual, they're intelligent individual, and they know and recognize that the PLP and Davis are party and politicians of the past. Let's move to the future.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Okay. Let's get back to the taxes thing. Well, let's start off with the election. So he's not really answering the question. Keeps repeating only the prime minister, which, you know, that gives no one any comfort at all, right? I mean, only the prime minister can do this. Only the prime, God, right? But what's happening here? I don't know. Maybe they did ask, but I would have asked over and over. Wait, what's happening with the fixed date thing? You remember that? You remember that? You said you were going to end this madness that we're going through right now. People are putting their lives on hold. You said you were going to stop it. What's happening with that? Oh, only the prime minister knows. Only the prime minister can say that. They're really taking this for
The sad part about
fools.
that is I think because that was said on the campaign trail last time around, there's a fairly good chance that, like, we're never going to... I don't know. Has the opposition said anything about, you know, doing the same, or was that a one-time wonder type of thing?
People have been calling for this for years, but, you know, the only person I've ever heard really speak about it, I heard Hannah Martin say she had concerns, if I remember correctly, a few years ago. But, you know, they're using it as a football, but they're not saying they're going to do it. They haven't come out and said they're going to do it. We agree that this needs to be fixed. But they keep calling him a liar or a hypocrite because he hasn't done it, which, hey, but what are you going to do? Are you going to do that? The official opposition. Other parties seem to think it's okay, but again, But yeah, so here we go again. Nobody knows because it could still happen because he didn't say it yet. He just keeps repeating that. They can't speak for me. Only the prime minister can say it. Like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we're still here because this is, like you said, this is quite literally the situation, you know, they kind of campaigned on that we would avoid being in anymore at the mercy of a prime minister to decide what an election is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Instead, we'd have fixed election dates to help avoid this unpredictability.
I don't know if you heard the show last week, though, but apparently only intellectuals and eggheads really care about it. The rest of the country loves it. They love the games, the betting, the prognostications. You sit down and say, well, because he said it when he was facing the southeast, that's a sign that the election's coming. I can tell you this now. Like, oh, okay. So this is fun times. It's fun times for the nation. So this is why the rest of us just need to go and find a hole and bury ourselves in it so we can emerge when it's time to vote. But, yeah, what do you make of that, folks? There's a lot more. We're going to get to that in a bit, but let's hear what you have to say about what he said about the election and then the taxes, you know, because nobody's falling for that part either. That's like we fully expect that whichever party wins the election is going to come back, maybe not the first year, but somewhere down there to say something dramatic about taxes. In fact, it would be shocking, be very weird, very strange if they don't.
It'll be very weird. No, not really weird. It would be
Yeah?
very reminiscent of the past if whoever becomes the next Minister of Finance that goes up on a stage and says, there will be no new taxes, just like Kalkitis has said in the past, as well as the now former Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Turnquest. They both did the H.W. Bush thing, read my lips, no new taxes. So who knows, Dwight? All thing we do know is whenever they say they ain't bringing it, it's exactly what's going to happen.
Right. And we know there, especially if you are replacing the government, they have it already. They memorize it like, oh, we didn't think it was going to be as bad as what we met. This is horrible. They ran the country to the ground. We have to. Like, yeah, sure. Okay, let's go to the phone lines. 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Tax reform is what we need, and very few are talking like that. The official opposition says they're going to study it, but really looking at equitable tax measures in the country, not from people who are in politics, it seems. Not much about that from everybody else. But hey, good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning to Don. And good morning to the Bahamas, the country that I love. But it is so sad to see all of the games that the Prime Minister is playing with we the Bahamian people. I think he's the only one right now with his head buried in the sand as an ostrich. He's constantly, as you're saying, as I heard your reports earlier, only the Prime Minister knows, only the Prime Minister. Geez, ain't that what the Constitution says? Is he trying to make news by constantly saying that? We want it to be where the Prime Minister is not the person to have the last say as to when elections are being called. So and for the dates, for the time, or the question in respect to when he is going to call. The gentleman is so ingenuous. They call it intellectual dishonesty. He can't even play a good game of lying to himself. The Prime Minister knows very well what he's going to do. And every time you hear him or others hedging the way he's done in those reports, that to me is a clear sign that they're going to do exactly what they're denying, just as you guys had indicated. So I don't trust anything Dr. Minna says. Nothing. Because in the last election, look at all of the promises and utterances he made for and toward the benefit of the Bahamian people. And he turned right around within the first year and went contrary to almost every single one of them. He's not someone to be trusted, in my view. The second thing having to do with the the Rushdie election. Do you gentlemen know for sure if somebody has already registered, but their voter's card is slightly damaged, such as mine is, I must admit? Do I need to go and re-register and get a new voter's card? It's only frayed along the edges. It ain't as pristine as it was when I first got it.
Hey, to me, that sounds fine. That's clearly they want that to happen. This flimsy, ridiculous piece of paper we get, right? I
don't know why they keep giving that flimsy piece. And the last thing I say, gentlemen, in regards to the vaccine, I am fully vaccinated. But what bothers me about the Prime Minister's comments? When did any scientist on this planet say, and if it was said, please tell me, because I didn't hear it, but when did any scientist say that once you are fully vaccinated, you can no longer catch nor spread COVID-19? When was that said?
No, we've not heard that.
The Prime Minister is talking as if those who are fully vaccinated are no longer capable of catching nor spreading COVID-19. But I heard some weeks ago that there was no assurance nor guarantee that when you had the vaccine, you couldn't catch it. or that you're still susceptible to catching it, and or could still be a possible spreader of it. So what's going on here? Is he the one that's practicing fake news now?
Well, again, those issues are greatly reduced. The incidence of that, much lower. But I do get your point. He does need to be careful. But a lot of people are talking like this now, and it could be dangerous. But
I mean, see, Dwight, if people are still dying, which they are, if people are still catching the disease, which they are, if people who are vaccinated are not 100% protected from catching COVID-19, which is the case, why go around saying that those who are fully vaccinated are no longer able to catch the disease?
Wait, did he say that? I don't know if he said that.
He implied that at the very least. He implied that. Because did he not just say on those newscasts that the fully vaccinated, there's no pandemic for the fully vaccinated?
Right. Yeah.
So he implied it. You see, this is what I hate about politicians. When it's not convenient for the people, when it's convenient for them, they will lie to us. When it's convenient for us, they will lie for themselves to make themselves look good.
Okay.
I hate that, Dwight. I hate it.
We all
Thank
do.
you, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's take this call, and then let's go to that piece where the Prime Minister is talking about the two pandemics. But let's take this call first, and then we'll get to that. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
This is Curly doing, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
We good, right? I can talk, right?
Just don't call people's names. Yeah.
All right. I was called Mr. Strachan.
Mm-hmm.
You notice what happened yesterday, right? You notice when Mr. Davis tell people to get red star. You notice, and Mr. Strachan, it ain't scores, okay? Because I've been to every clinic and every office. Hello?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everywhere is full, okay? Mr. Strachan, I mean, the bottom line about this, right? Mr. Sergeant.
So you are confirmed. You said it's not scores, but you said
no. I know it's hundreds. Not see. I know. Words is a serious thing.
Okay.
I know some journalists third words to please their party. Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
Well, scores is a lot.
No. But hundreds is much greater.
Well,
do you agree?
Sure.
No, Mr. Strachan. I mean, I ain't called you to argue this morning because I have to beef with you. Okay. What I'm saying is this: you don't think nobody know messed up? I mean, you see a child's game be playing. To make a long story short, nobody respect the Prime Minister word no more. JT fair, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
When you see people resort to calling you liars and stuff, ring the bell, get your backside cut, and go home.
Okay. Go ahead. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, let's go to that piece. Taylor Ferguson will explain what the Prime Minister said about the two pandemics. It's causing some people to scratch their heads, but take a listen.
The pandemic is finished for vaccinated individuals, according to the Prime Minister, but he says he's concerned about the increasing number of COVID cases, with 100 confirmed just yesterday.
The vaccinated individuals are now out of the pandemic. The pandemic is finished for the vaccinated individuals. The non-vaccinated individuals are still in the pandemic, and therefore it's essential for us to aggressively, of which we're doing, to aggressively pursue vaccines so that we can vaccinate our populace as quickly and efficiently as possible.
U.S. President Joe Biden made a similar statement Friday when he said the only pandemic is among the unvaccinated. However, while chances of hospitalization are lower once you are vaccinated, those individuals can still contract and spread COVID. Menace also says government is speaking with cruise lines to see how best to get thousands of Bahamians to Florida to be vaccinated at the expense of government.
And we are in discussion with other cruise lines, etc., to see whether it's possible we can move thousands of our people to Florida at the expense of the government to be vaccinated, because we feel that life is much more important than money.
The Prime Minister also responding to questions about a possible tightening of restrictions.
We will have discussions with the medical personnel, both tertiary as well as public health, and personnel from the EOC. We would make decisions. However, our decisions would be responsible and to ensure that there are no additional deaths and to ensure that our economy continue to roar as it is today.
All right, Taylor Ferguson with that report there. Hey, yeah, let's talk about that. And putting Bahamians on cruises to go to Florida to get vaccinated. What do you make of that? Huh. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796.
I really wish he didn't say that.
That's
about I mean, I think I recall reading about Biden saying something similar as well, which was also stated in the story. And that drew a lot of backlash from a lot of people. But I mean, it's a half and half thing at this point in the United States because they have far higher levels of vaccinated persons in their population, percentage-wise, compared to the Bahamas and most of the Caribbean, obviously because they boost their own vaccines. But yeah, man, although it is true that it seems as though statistically persons are less likely to die or end up hospitalized as a result of being vaccinated, you still can give it to people who aren't. There are lots of people that, in this country especially, doctors and nurses too, who do not want to take the vaccine. But I don't know how to use the language that he's used. I don't know, Dwight. What do you think?
Yeah, he's treading into some dangerous territory there, because we run the risk of people who are vaccinated thinking they can do anything and everything as well. And that is, we still need to have people wear their masks and be as cautious as they were a year ago going forward. It's still going to be required, right? Especially when you hear drug companies talking about boosters. So clearly we are still learning, right? So that type of talk, I know you want to get people vaccinated, but this is not exactly the way to do it. Not quite. There's got to be a better way. But hey, yeah, I don't know. All right, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller. Hi, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight and Don.
Hi.
Yeah, man, I agree too with that statement what the Prime Minister made as far as that road goes. It reminds me of when former Prime Minister Barry Christie said, once he wins the election, it can be free electricity. You know, that's what it came off to me, right? Because we continue to see that these our politicians would say anything, right, just to be elected or re-elected. Well, it ain't about doing nothing, because...
Well, we don't know. That could have happened. Who knows?
But what do you mean it could have happened, right?
I mean, we didn't get a chance to find out. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe it wasn't just talk.
Yeah, but wait, these guys will say anything to get elected or re-elected. But what if we had politicians would believed in the words that coming out of their mouths, right? So they would have tried to do some of the things they said they would have done, because it appears that the men in this world and in this country in particular didn't grow up under men what used to tell them that you are only as good as the words that are coming out of your mouth, right? And we continue to see this politician comes with lies after or stories that are not true after stories that are not true, right? It's clear that there's, based on where we are right now, it's impossible for us to go into next year into a general election or somebody crazy or everybody crazy, right? But I just want the Bahamian people to see that at this stage again in our life, we need to make a paradigm shift. We got to change people. We got to get rid from this back and forth from what then demonstrate and prove to us that, hey, if you're willing to listen to the nonsense coming out of my mouth, I'm willing to be Prime Minister of this, because there's no way I feel the Bahamas could take the next 5, 2, 3, 4, even months with Dr. Hubert Minnesman, because he's a disappointment as far as I'm concerned. Guys, have a nice day.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Good morning.
You know, I don't know how different the Prime Minister could convey what he said, you know, about the those, the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. You know, according to the data in the United States, 99% of those who die because of COVID-19 were the unvaccinated.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And 95% of those who got the virus are the unvaccinated. So it's a fact that those who are vaccinated have very little, extremely very little, extreme little chance of being affected by COVID-19. So that's a fact. And what else could he say to encourage people to take the vaccine?
Yeah.
And you know, and see, look, in the United States, the thing is too, and this thing is very political to those who are prepared to take the vaccine and those who are not. In the United States, it's political. I would assume that all over the world it's political.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and man, we got issues in this country. You see, we need to talk. We and then be able to chew and walk and chew gum at the same time. In the United States, they dealing with issues of COVID-19 as well as the issues of the economy, of the issues of the physical infrastructure. When are we going to do the same? Seems like we stuck on COVID-19 and that's it. You see, we stuck on COVID-19, so we need to go ahead. We need to continue to do the business of our nation.
Okay.
You know, and you know, I had a problem yesterday with those in the media, right? And that, okay, not those in the media, but the media in general. You know, whether it's mainstream or not. You see, these folks. The issue yesterday was the letter with the report to the of the commission, right? Come on, man. They never talk about the issues or what's in the report. You know, it's harder, but no echoing of the sentiments of these folks. What are the issues? What is needed? What is the mandate of the report? What do people need from them? The disparity in the number of voters.
Which report are you talking about? The commission. Okay, yeah, but I mean they did talk about that.
No, but we don't talk about the difference. And you know okay. Look at this. The speaker talked about his issue was disparity in what? And his fix was not correct. And the others they seem no, there's no issue.
Right. Well, that's not a problem with the media though. That's a problem with the people on the commission.
No, the media is the people who influence the people.
Well,
that's the reason for the media, right?
If only it were true. But yes, in some ways. But I mean, that was discussed though. And
when are we going to get to the issues? Not the personalities. Not you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's foolishness.
What
we
I'm
need to
saying,
deal with this boundary commission and its disparity in voters. Right now, like the folks down south more powerless than the folks in the north. That's bad, man.
Well,
their MPs have 3 times as much power they elect the government than those in the north.
Okay, I'm agreeing with you, but the issue is not the media. The media, you did this was
why
discussed.
Can't we get these things done?
Yeah, now that's up to the people. That's up to the people.
That's terrible. This Bahamas and a mess.
Well, that's the people. The people are all concerned about personality.
That has to do with all of the parliament, all the parties, all. And see, and those, the people who allowed us, you know what they do? They want to cling on to this red and yellow, and they go into the third parties. It's the strongest one and destroy it. They are operatives in these parties.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Not the media. The media discussed that, has discussed that. Moultrie has gone to the media quite a bit to say what he thought, and it's been discussed a lot. We have not heard, we're not hearing much from people in positions of authority these days at all. They haven't come back to say their side of it. They're not talking to anybody, it seems, but a while back. And a lot of reaction from the public was, we don't need more seats. and not listening to what he was saying. I don't know why, but hey. So it's unfortunate. It's the public, though. It's the people who need to really stop focusing on silly little things like this personality versus that personality and when you can call it, that kind of stuff, and really look deeper. Because Moultrie did make some very valid points, even though we get distracted by his personality, and we all do. But he did make some interesting points that should at least have been considered or debated. And yet here we are. Here we are. But I do hear your frustrations, and we do need the public to focus. All right, let's take this one call, and then we've got to get to some of these messages. A lot of messages this morning. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, this is Falcon Voice along with you and Dawn, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Dwight, I listened to Dawn, right? He sounds like he are good on finance. Now, Dawn, I want you to answer this question for me, please, if you can. Now, the Bahamas doesn't make dollars, doesn't make money. The Bahamas are not producing. The Bahamas borrows billions of dollars. The majority of people in the Bahamas are working. They're getting a low pay. Okay? When they talked about tax and going up on tax, where they expect to get the balance from for the country or establishing a balance.
Don, you going to answer that question?
Are you meaning like balances in terms of inflows of U.S. currency, or just government taking money out of the economy and
Hey, we don't have to prolong this conversation. Hey, it's you. That's the answer. You. They got to get from you. You and me. Us. Not the rich people. Us. The regular people. That's who. Bam. End of story. You.
Yeah, the straw get chicken out.
Yeah. That's it.
Knocked out of there. Yeah.
No. What's the term? Slapping up? We just answered. No. You. Okay. Here's the text. I'm glad the Prime Minister set the record straight yesterday about early elections because Philip Davis is misleading the public, making those people go out and register. Well, those people should go out and register. They should, right? Because no one, except for one man, knows the time, and the register dissolves before. Right? So, stop. People need to go and register. Only one man knows when. Mm-hmm. This one is, who is putting their lives on hold? I'm certainly not. Well, that's you. Yeah, a lot of people can't take vacation. They don't know. They're not hiring because they don't know what's happening with the election. It's happening. Not you. Okay, great. But that's a lot of other people are. Whenever the election is called, I will vote. The media needs to stop feeding the speculation circus. Oh, you are ridiculous. I'm sorry. You are. I can't continue. I cannot continue to read your text. But I'm glad that you think this is fun. Great. Anyway, regarding F&M, the party I support, Dr. Min is the leader in my view, and the sentiments I'm getting on the ground, and many in the voting public, that Dr. Minnis is fast becoming a liability for the party, as former PLP leader Perry Christie became up to the 2017 general election. So I'm particularly sorry for those two cabinet ministers who have worked hard and done well, Tourism Minister Dionisa de Aguilar and National Security Minister Marvin Dames. Oh, only two? Okay. This one says here, in his arrogance, Dr. Minnis allowed Brave Davis to egg him on. Remember a few weeks back when Dr. Minnis said Cabinet will determine the election date? Now he's saying only the Prime Minister can set the election date in his eagerness to show Brave that he's the Prime Minister. Once again, he revealed to the Bahamian public that he's not a man of his word. Yeah. The reason why we will have an early election is because the pressure that they are going to put on us to get vaccinated by September, October will guarantee that they will lose the election if they do this before election is called. What now? Say it again. The pressure they're going to put on us to get October will guarantee that they will lose the election if they do it before the election.
I don't know if I agree. If their plan is to ever put pressure on us or people in general to get vaccinated, they're doing a pretty horrible job of doing that. I don't agree, but I do think that I don't know, Dwight. Do you think the public, campaign or information campaign at informing Bahamians about the vaccines, do you think that's been as good as it could be?
Definitely not.
Okay, so we're on the same page. I was going to say I think they should do more in that department. I think a lot of Bahamians have a bit of hesitancy and a little bit of fear and actually communicating and talking about it rather than, I don't know, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, a lot more needs to be done.
Pardon?
A lot more needs to be done.
Agreed.
Many different strategies need to be implemented. They aren't doing anywhere near what they should to be getting that word out there. No. But again, nobody's talking. Nobody's talking. I don't know what's happening. Are talking. But anyway, this one is, this says, there's always no new taxes, just tax increases. Well, no. Another text, the Prime Minister's mixed up like conch salad. He says before he became the government that there will be fixed terms for Prime Ministers, and then he changed his mind. And now he promises, a promise is a comfort to a fool, yeah. Well, I don't know if he changed his mind, just hasn't done it. Another one here. We are waiting for the Prime Minister to call a snap election. Trust me, we can't wait to vote. Snap him out of the House of Assembly. He needs to go. He's a jokey leader. Do we care to talk about the promises Dr. Minnis did keep? Well, let him come to us to talk about it. We invite him to come to talk about the ones he did keep. Yeah, let him do that one. This one says here, please tell the Prime Minister to stop pontificating about the pandemic is over for vaccinated Bahamians. Only when the CDC or WHO says the pandemic is over will we believe anything. Stop the political nonsense. Another one. Working as an agent at the airport, I can affirm that we have had in one day alone 2 vaccinated people refuse to travel because their antigen test showed them positive for COVID. This is not unusual either. They still need to practice the same protocols. Yes, indeed. This one says here, the Prime Minister also told us in 2017 that he will decrease the VAT. He also promised to fix election dates. So he is now the boy who cried wolf. On that day when he calls, we will not be there. Well, another text. The part of the statement that baffles me is the fact that we have no vaccines. It's like he is saying get vaccinated and it'll be all over for you, but does not have the vaccines to supply. Imagine how people feel who, based on that statement, want to take the vaccine to be done with the pandemic. There aren't any available. He should focus on getting vaccines in the country. Another one. Be assured that the only people that will pay to move to Florida on a party supporters will. He says they will pay. Well, they're going to pay for it, not pay them, but pay for them. Okay, will be party supporters in red shirts. Really, if it happens, it'll be a photo op that will be abruptly stopped to work out the glitches. And I bet you no one but Dr. Minnis knew about this. Mariel boat lift before it rolled around his head, bumped up against a pebble that blurted out his mouth yesterday. The FNM has to stop or dump this man, they're saying. Oh, yeah. Well, I would like to know who all would go on that. That's a question. Nobody's responding to that one yet. But, yeah, would you be interested? What does that make? Does that seem sad? I was having a discussion with somebody yesterday who said it seemed really pathetic that we'd have to ship people off to another country to get vaccinated. Like, that just seems like a complete failure. But what do you say? Anyway, our Prime Minister is so inarticulate. I heard Biden's remarks on the pandemic of the unvaccinated, and it was so much better stated than our Prime Minister's statement. Same with the Prime Minister's vaccination day proposal. Statements and ideas expressed rationally elsewhere just sound so clumsy and flammable coming from him. Sigh. Another one. If the Prime Minister calls an early election and somehow wins, that means the Bahamian people will be stuck with him not giving interviews and answering questions for another 6 years. Almost 6 years. The statement that was made by the Prime Minister indicates to me that discriminatory measures are on the way. It also makes me feel more and more that this whole COVID thing is an agenda more than a health issue. Well, and what is the plan moving forward to live with COVID in our society? Someone says here, what difference would it make if the Prime Minister calls an early election or allows it to happen in May of 2022? I have yet to hear any physical or economic plan from any of the political parties. They are blowing hot air and have not shown any concrete plans. I want to know, how are we going to grow our economy? I want to know, how are they going to ease the tax burden on our citizens? I want to hear their plans to control COVID. Not hearing much at all. just a lot of criticisms and critiques. Yes. Dwight, can you begin to ask some of the callers what solutions they have to offer rather than spewing out nonsense? Well, okay. Life is more important than money than if you are serious by some... is this the word you meant to say here? About the crews. We can use them in the hurricane season too then. Interesting. Another one. I wouldn't want the opposition to promise a fixed election date due to me not believing any politician anymore. Okay, vaccine fraud has been perpetrated on world governments to sell vaccines. There's therapeutics to treat COVID, which isn't new, but the suppression of the treatment kicked in by the Democratic Party and their collaborators to make way for vaccine sales. Media personalities like you, Dwight, go with the narrative of the day. I want you to do it over and over. I watch you do it over and over, then switch gears to appear to be objective, especially after the U.S. presidential election when a coup was perpetrated on the Republic in plain sight. And now America is being destroyed, and what a mess the Biden presidency has generated in 6 months. This indicates that the same can happen here in the Bahamas, and already banana republic mindset.
Wait, what?
I don't know. What just happened?
Wait, did they say a coup within the Republican Party?
In the U.S., but okay. But sometimes you just gotta read it and go. Move on. Another one. The word is not out. My 3-year-old knows about COVID and vaccines. Are you guys for real? Well, maybe that's because of you. Maybe because you're a responsible parent. But you know fully well that you are not the majority in this place, right?
The reason why I brought that up is because I've heard, I'm going to be specific, but I've heard medical professionals state to this, we not say to this day, but fairly recently, that they plain simply don't believe in vaccines. I don't want to repeat the things they say, but they're absolutely, some of them, not all, some I realize have medical reasons why they are hesitant. Others I've met I only met a handful, I didn't meet a lot, but have hesitancy because they bought into a lot of conspiracies. And I've heard a lot of Bahamians from all walks of life to just repeat some of the same things. And I was just saying, like, we should have a bit of a campaign to inform people about the different types of vaccines. Because multiple people have texted and called into different shows, even on the internet, and talked about these types of things. That's it. That's just a public information campaign rather than just trudging along and saying, well, y'all unvaccinated people is the ones who in the pandemic. No, it's like, I get why you would say that, but at the same time, I think it should be more inclusive rather than exclusive. That's all I'm saying.
It seems to be two sets. Right? We've got some people who have done the research and they're very educated on the matter, as you say. Some are medical professionals and they know why they are hesitant, right? Other people have repeated something somebody told them they read on the internet. And they're saying some things that, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. You know that, right? And so there's a lot of that as well. And so there does need to be some targeted, perhaps, information for those who are misquoting some of the things they've heard. And, so perhaps maybe from some regular people who've taken the vaccine, or to see, since we're so obsessed with them, politicians joining across the lines to make a joint statement on something. Perhaps those type things will help. Perhaps. But of course, then you've got the people who just text, like that person just texted us, who were like, we have been brainwashed, or we're part of the agenda to control the universe, and the media's just bought into it, and part of the problem. You'll never convince them, so oh well. Let's take a break. Got a lot more to talk about on the other side. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Cause all I see is laughing when I look in. They chuckling and giggling like something sweet in there. We drowning in crime, boy, ain't no jokes out here. The parliament is a circus. Watch how they just blonde. Just juggling and jiving, say any mess they want. Watch when they on TV, they like counting sheep. They eating and they laughing, or they fast asleep. Cause we got some jokey leaders in a jokey town. A three-ring circus, what a bunch of clowns.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Nassau, Bahamas.
Got your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In real-time traffic, Mile Butler Highway, seeing some heavy traffic the closer you get to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. So that's as you get near to Harold Pond, you're going to be noticing that there. And all the way up to the roundabout. Gladstone Road, also heavy traffic just about midway between Fire Trail and JFK Drive in the northbound lane this morning. Elsewhere, we're seeing building traffic on Carmichael eastbound to Blue Hill Road and Blue Hill Road just north of Soldier Road to the roundabout with Independence Drive. And some building traffic out west toward Coral Harbor Road. Elsewhere, not looking so bad so far this morning. We'll have another real-time report for you just after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined. And another check of your weather for today. High pressure will remain the dominant weather feature across the country today. Boaters should be alert for possible waterspouts, and beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents at east and south coast beaches in the central and southeast Bahamas. Everyone's being urged to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activity, as we're expecting another day with heat indices in the triple digits. For all areas today, look for partly to mostly sunny, hot, and breezy conditions across the central and southeast Bahamas with scattered showers, and the chance of isolated thunder in the northwest Bahamas. Mostly fair and warm with a chance of a few showers tonight. Isolated thunderstorms also possible. Small craft caution remains in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas today. Highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will be all the way up to 108 Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, the combination of a plume of Saharan dust coupled with surface dredging will produce mostly stable conditions across the area through most of the week. So for Wednesday tomorrow, look for partly to mostly sunny, hot, and hazy conditions with a chance of a few isolated showers, mainly across the extreme northwest Bahamas and a bit breezy in the central and southeastern islands. Thursday, mostly sunny, hot, and hazy with a persistent moderate to fresh breeze in the central and southeastern islands. The tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and carved body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
There's only one way to have a better morning. Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
Switching your mortgage to CIBC First Caribbean is easy, affordable, and convenient. We'll help with your switching cost, give you 3 months payment free, and waive your commitment fees so you can enjoy the break you need. Plus, you'll get up to 95% financing and a pre-approved Visa Gold or Platinum credit card with 5,000 bonus reward points and more. Switch your home base to CIBC First Caribbean. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
I got papers, you done signed. You promised to have and hold me and be mine. We signed our names on the dotted line and said, mine is yours and yours is mine. You promised me candy, you promised me sweet. Now it's time to deliver it. You want to be treated. They say a promise is a comfort to a fool. So baby, you better practice the golden rule. Give me what is mine, what you promised to me. Give me what is mine, what you promised to me. Give me what is mine, what you promised to me. Promises is...
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Don Sargent on this Tuesday morning. We've got a lot of text messages. We want to get through these, but we do have some other pieces we want to play. But let me read some of these very quickly. Dwight, did we all hear the Prime Minister correctly? Putting behind Florida for the vaccine? While it may sound like a good gesture, it is an asinine approach at best. Which Bahamians and from which islands should be packing their flip-flops? The cost of roughly $300 to $500 per person. Who bears this cost, considering it is more than 10 times the cost of procurement? How many persons are expected to receive this benefit, and how long is this exercise to run? Have we abandoned the notion of procuring our own stockpiles of the vaccine? As has been agreed to also by the U.S. State Department, it's becoming more obvious daily that election fever is consuming the Prime Minister. His measured approach of throwing dung against the wall and hoping it sticks needs to come to an end. Oh, my goodness. But hey, we agree with what you're saying, that very strange proposition there. Wow. Anyway, this one says here the FNM has poor public relations, I guess just has poor public relations to promote its accomplishments. Yeah, they do. And they also have poor public relations when it comes to defending things that they do. Very poor. Another one here. From how the FNM is running these boring, expensive ads across Facebook and the TV, it would appear that they're targeting those who only repeat propaganda and not think. The $60,000 per month would be better expended in getting children to read at an advanced level. Mm-hmm. This one says, I'd take the boat to get a vaccine as long as I can get off this ship and shop. I would be even more incentivized if they gave me 2 exemptions on return for 1 stamp. Ha! Okay. Another one here. Can't compare minutes with Biden. Be honest, Biden forgets what he ate for breakfast. What's going on here? He has medical... Oh, my God. Okay. On this one here, it's alleged that only a quarter of the medical professionals have taken the vaccine. What's that all about? Well... morning, Haitian president assassinated just 2 weeks ago now, effective immediately, 500,000 vaccines sent to Haiti. This is about vaccines. This one says here, okay. Yep, more about controlling people with the vaccine, all about control. Yep, okay. We are ignorant. Yes. Okay. And this one says, to help curtail misinformation, can you inform us on the ages of all COVID deaths in the Bahamas? Whether they die from COVID alone or factors like obesity or diabetes playing a major role. Maybe this can guide who should be vaccinated, but I guess that's stupid. It's not, and they've been saying that from the beginning. If you have comorbidities, very concerned, right? And that's going to be a good portion of the population. A good portion. All right. I wanted to get to this piece. This is about registration. So we talked about it. Dave says it's more than scores. It's hundreds. Okay. Well, very easily scores can become hundreds, but okay. Anyway, lots of people turned up to get registered yesterday, but there was some. Not all of them were happy campers. Take a listen to this report from our Jasmine Brown.
Just listen for your name. Make sure you 6 feet distance for me, please.
A crowded scene outside the Parliamentary Registration Department's Farrington Road offices as scores of residents lined up outside to register. Some had been waiting as early as 7 a.m. The rush to register came one day after Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Ray Davis urged new voters to register. House of Assembly Speaker Halston Moutry has said he believes ministers will dissolve Parliament on Tuesday. Many of the people we met outside the department were seeking to change their address, including former Senator Rodney Moncur and his family.
Due to the fact that my house was destroyed by fire, I've not been living in Black Village. Me, my wife, and at least one of my adult sons. We have been living in our office. So the issue arises as to where should I vote?
In the middle of the rush, many of the people we spoke to complained about the process, calling it disorganized and insisting there was a lack of communication about what documents are needed.
A lot of people, because you come here ready to make sure you're straight, then they tell you have to go back. They need to make an announcement what people need to do.
The process is very old. It needs to be updated. And what's going to happen now for persons like myself that are trying to beat the rush, there's a chance that I'm not going to vote.
Plenty of these people here losing a day from work. They don't get paid. They don't ain't making no money. They're being laid off all those months. And they can tell me, you come down here, and they don't have sense enough to put in the papers or on the air for the people.
Acting Parliamentary Commissioner Lovato Donkinson addressed concerns, saying the department has made every effort to keep the public informed through its website, social media pages, and public billboards. He also noted the fact that voter registration has been an ongoing process for years. He also revealed that since 2017, there have been 4,436 transfers into constituencies across the Bahamas.
Most recently, we would say, last week in particular, we noticed that persons who presented themselves for some services, those persons who present themselves for transfer surpassed the actual persons who came in last week for registration at many of our centers.
Meantime, there were those who insisted they would brave the long lines for the opportunity to vote.
They just need to hurry up with it, get with it. I think the people of the Bahamas is ready.
Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right. This goes back to what you were talking about earlier, Don, about an education campaign. I don't think it's been a sufficient education campaign about this either. There's still so many people with questions about what they're supposed to do, whether they need to re-register, what they need to do to bring, and it's perplexing. Here, there, once in a while you see the acting commissioner doing an interview, but it hasn't been widespread at all, and it's perplexing. It's very strange. And we keep hearing time is drawing nigh, but yet what's going on? I don't understand it. Anyway, let's break for news. When we come back,
all
we have
signs point to an early election being called, according to the leader of the.
See one over there, right there. There's another one, right there. In your hair, right there. Come on, everybody, come and dance with me. You've gotta put on your shoes and stomp to this beat. We're bringing back this funky dance from long ago. It's time to mash it up. Come on, let's kill the roach. Come on and squish, squash, kill that roach.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 4224796. And now at 8:17, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got high pressure that will remain the dominant weather feature today across the country, but boaters should be alert for possible waterspout activity, and beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas should be alert for rip currents at east and south coast beaches. And everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and to limit outdoor activity, as we're expecting another hot day today with high heat indices. For all areas today, your forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny, hot, and breezy conditions across the central and southeastern Bahamas, with scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms mainly in the northwest Bahamas. Tonight should be mostly fair and warm, with the chance of a few passing showers or an isolated thunderstorm. Small craft caution in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Look for high temperatures getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index up to 108 Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, the combination of a plume of Saharan dust coupled with surface ridging will produce mostly stable conditions across the area throughout most of the week. So for tomorrow, Wednesday, we're expecting partly to mostly sunny, hot, and hazy conditions with the chance of a few isolated showers, mainly across the in the central and southeastern islands as well. Thursday, mostly sunny, hot, and hazy again with a persistent moderate to fresh breeze in the central and southeastern islands. The tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 48 hours. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And at 8:19, time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. We've got that heavy traffic on Mile Butler Highway from Fire Trail all the way up to Tonic Williams-Darling Highway. In fact, that's backed up on Tonic Williams-Darling Highway as well, westbound this morning. Glaston Road also busy northbound to JFK Drive. Carmichael Road is busy eastbound to Blue Hill Road, which is seeing heavy traffic from just south of Carmichael all the way up to Independence Drive. That's mainly the northbound lanes there, especially north of Soldier Road this morning. Elsewhere, we've got Carmichael westbound also busy, heading to Coral Harbor Road. And Eastern Road seeing some heavy traffic from Fox Hill Road all the way up to Village Road this morning, the westbound lanes. Looking very busy for you this morning there. You might want to try an alternate route if you've got to be somewhere soon. Other hot spots, West Bay Street near Nassau Street. As you get closer to the point, you're going to be seeing that there, especially eastbound. And then pockets of the major intersections on the island. The East Street, Independence Drive area, East Street, Robinson Road, and pockets along Prince Charles Drive, Robinson Road at the major intersections again. That's what we're looking at, your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
And Sean, with Kerry, C-Sharp, let's go. I don't worry about gossip. I don't worry about minds feel. Pick up your hand if you're a VIP. Yes, I know I am a real big deal. Hey, I have no limitations. I go out and I live up my dreams. Got my pride and my family. Disrespect is a serious thing. Yes, I know I am a real big deal. Hey, I'm a real big deal. Yes, I know I am a real big deal. Hey, I'm a real big deal. Hey, I'm a
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Don Sargent. Don? Do we lose Don? Is he there? Yep. Oh, yeah, let's sort that. Oh, okay. Okay, excellent. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking with the Tourism Development Corporation and BASE, the Bahamas Association of Shore Experiences. We'll find out what that is about this morning. And then later in Morning Blend Business, we are talking with the Bahamas Engineers, Architects, and Allied Professionals group. They are hosting a webinar about reimagining the construction industry in the country. But we continue discussing what's in the news, getting a lot of reaction to what we've said earlier. Don, we said that the campaign about vaccinations has been... It could be better. It could be better. Some people are disagreeing with us. They're like, what are you talking about? And I don't know if they understand what we were saying. I think we're saying it could be targeted because certain people get it. Certain people will never get it. But there's some people in the middle who are being blown about by the different things they are hearing and reading and not really certain. And I think if they saw certain people or heard certain messages, it might help them to make up their mind. And they're just being left out there. And I think they need to be targeted. But we just played that piece about folks complaining about what they are finding out when they go to get registered to vote. And so that's come up again now, the education issue. Some are saying, yeah, well, there's an area where that hasn't been a good campaign. What people need to do to register, who needs to register, if you're already on the permanent register, those type things. So somebody who texted us earlier about wondering what we were talking about the vaccine and the education issue, saying this here. A person not believing has nothing to do with the word being out. Their lack of reasonable deduction has nothing to do with the correct info being out. Maybe you should blame them for their ignorance as opposed to saying the government has fallen short on educating us. But then again, the government is a low fence. Well, okay. I think there's more the government could do. Absolutely. And then they go on to say, I know you won't read this, but listen how pathetic those people who had months to register and are just now doing it, but it is the government's fault when then you will say it's an education issue. No, it's a lack of educated people problem, and Bahamians doing everything at the last minute and complaining. Wow. Well, that's quite unfair, actually. And many reasons why some people will just be now going to register. Some of them, their birthdays have just come about. So there could be all kinds of reasons. So, I mean, to sweep everybody with that brush is unfair. But, yeah. Okay. Anyway, a lot of work to be done all around. A lot of work to be done all around. Let's take some more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, are you there? Hi, good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Hi, yes. Yes, good morning. Hi.
Yes, I could barely hear you. Good show as always.
Thank you.
Dwight, you know, there are about 7 different people that are spreading, I saw this on CNN, that are spreading this conspiracy theory. And, you know, part of it was Donald Trump and the Republican Party, and that went through on social media and just spread like wildfire all over the world. So, you know, people believe this conspiracy theory that there's something about money making and something about population control in regards to the vaccine. But, you know, the only way to get out of this pandemic, hello?
Yeah, we're listening.
Yeah, the only way to get out of this pandemic is through vaccination. Mm-hmm. More than 1 billion people in the world taking the vaccine. So, and Bahamians in general, you know, I've never met anybody under the age of 40 that wants to take the vaccine. Everybody is anti-vaccine. You know, what's going to happen to them, and it's, you know, they're going to be sterilized, all kinds of things that is happening. So you cannot expect the country to expect tourists to continuously come here unless our population is being vaccinated. I understand that, you know, they don't have sufficient vaccines, and so does many other countries. Everybody is fighting for this vaccine. And, you know, this ploy about the government is not efficient, and they should should have gone out there and procure, I think the word is,
Yeah.
some more.
Yeah, they have a lot of work to do.
That's water under the bridge. Everybody is hustling for vaccines right now. But I guarantee that once we get these vaccines, you're going to see a lot of people resistant to taking the vaccine. You know, I had some experiences. There was a guy, and I'll tell you this, and maybe Bayless will understand how dangerous this is. I had a guy that, you know, I talked to on a consistent basis about men, you know, taking the vaccine. He said, I'm thinking about it. I'm not going to do it. The week afterwards, he contracted COVID. And in a couple of weeks, he was dead.
Oh, boy.
He was dead. If he had taken the vaccine, and he had no underlying conditions, you know. I know people that got COVID the first time, got it again, and still refusing to take the vaccine. I don't understand that.
Got it again? Really?
Got it twice.
Here?
Got it twice. Diagnosed with it twice.
Here in the Bahamas?
In the Bahamas, yes. Yes. You know, the first time I had to go and sanitize, a place, and she got it again. She got it twice. But this variant that's around right now, I don't know if she can make it the third time. But it's out there and it's killing people. Dwight, I know you give airtime and you have to do it to everybody. But, you know, there are some people coming on the air with all kinds of so-called scientific information that they read on YouTube and on the internet, and somehow they become some expert on vaccinations. We have to be careful with those kind of people. In order for you to understand vaccines, you have to be a virologist. You have to be a doctor. You cannot level with the amount of information without having studied that, being a professional in that particular area. You can read all you want on YouTube. You still don't understand what they're really talking about. You don't have the level of education to understand that. So, you know, you have to watch people who coming on and just telling you anti-vaccine stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. One thing you said, though, I mean, I know there are a lot of people. I know many people under 40 who are very eager. Don, you're one of those who got the vaccine. So I'm not too sure about who you're talking to, but there are a lot of people of many ages who want to be vaccinated there. Let's take this final... Yeah.
I just want to say one thing. I actually know of a case of someone who got COVID once and ended up getting it again.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they passed away. So,
and this was here in the Bahamas. Yeah? Because every time we ask about this, I mean, they really try to say it's so rare it doesn't happen. Huh.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep, pretty much.
Interesting. Very interesting. So
it's a very unfortunate case.
I want those people who keep messaging.
That's something that's widespread in terms of that can happen to anybody. I have no idea.
Important, though, that we need to hear that because people are around here talking about natural immunity all the time. Right? You cannot hold out hope for that. It doesn't last long. All right. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dawn. Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
How you all doing? Good morning, Dawn.
Doing well.
Okay. Sound like you're talking about getting registered to vote and the vaccine.
We've been talking about a lot of things. Yes.
I want to say something on all two of them. Is it possible?
Yeah. Really quickly, though.
Yes, sir. Very quickly. First one is register. I do want to know if I voted last election, if I still have to go get registered to vote if I live in the same place, and if I don't have a voter's card, if my passport could work. Second question.
What happened to your voter's card?
They haven't gone and pick it up for a couple of elections for the last 10.
What? Well, how did you vote?
Turns. I don't pick it up. If they don't give it to me when I register, I use my passport and vote. So I just want to know if they saying this can be a new register or they can go with the old register. And if you could, Dwight, maybe by Friday you could find out how much people done register on the new register, if it's a new register, and if that could work. And if they move all the dead people names off right here.
Okay, there's a lot of questions. The last part I'm not sure about, but if you are registered, you should be fine. You can vote with your passport, really? Okay.
Dawn,
yeah.
Dwight, if you could, because you and Dawn is two of the smartest I get on the radio right now, right? So I don't want to find them from you all. I'm a little confused. And
Well, we're all confused. We're trying to get them to talk
What
to
I'm
us.
confused about is this vaccine, right?
Mhm.
Help me to understand this, right? Why are they giving us this vaccine free and they charging us money for these tests? We don't have no money to pay for no tests. Tests is important for some of the people who don't want to take the vaccine. This make us to understand who asking this stupid, dumb question. Why the vaccine free and we got to pay for the test? Why not subsidize or subsidize the cost for the test for the people? Is that possible? Is that realistic, or is that a sensible question? Because we suffering out here. People got to pay for tests to go back to work. Woman who having baby have to go and take COVID test before she going to have the baby. The government can't subsidize that, because I hear the Prime Minister say, our life is more important than money. So I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
All right. You've been asking that question for about a year, and not getting any answers to that. They obviously don't. Hey, it's big business. Big business everywhere. There are people in empty lots, vacant parking lots, doing COVID tests. So it's crazy. I'll show you a picture. I couldn't believe it. The person looked like a child. Like, what are you doing? You're testing anyway. So I don't know what's happening. But so don't hold your breath for free testing anytime soon. It appears. All right, this is a great question as we get ready to take a break. I moved and I'm living with someone and I can't get a utility bill. So what do I do? That's a good question. We're trying to get the answers. We're trying to get people to talk. But they say they've put messages up on Facebook. So if that's... check them out there. This is a question here. This one, this text. Dwight, if the vaccine turns out to be deadly in the future, would you feel any guilt for pushing it to people and not encouraging proper scrutiny? Well, the first answer that came to my head was, well, I'll probably be dead. So then I won't feel the guilt, right? But
I'll be dead too.
Right. So, I mean, what? Huh? But anyway, hey, I don't know if I've said this on the air, but remember I was holding out for a while as I was doing the scrutiny before I went to get vaccinated. And then what really changed my mind was I looked around at the people I know who are vaccinated and the people who are not vaccinated. And I said to myself, God, if something were to happen, no offense to my friends who aren't, I would rather be stuck. I would not be stuck with the people who aren't vaccinated. I don't want to be stuck on earth with only them. Just because of, they've been a little crazy with the thinking. I'm like, let me go. I'll be fine. I'll go with these ones. That was the tipping point. So whatever it takes to get you to understand how this thing works. We don't know, but you got to take your chances, right? And anything is better than dying from COVID, I think. Hey, let's take a break. When we come back, changing gears. We're talking about BASE, Bahamas Association of Shore Experiences. You definitely want to stay tuned for this. That's after the break here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
All keep people business out your mouth, yeah? Don't come around me with no drama. Keep people business out your mouth. Keep people business out of your mouth. Like the old saying, go my child. Teeth and tongue don't fall out. So remember, if a dog could bring you born, then surely will told it too. So mind what you say and be careful who you're talking to. This Nina sitting on a porch for the air in the neighbor yard. Waiting to talk, the first thing she heard, that old woman has worked so bad. One day I gone on the porch, just to visit she, to hear what happened to Miss Patsy. She said her husband cheating on her with the young girl down the road. Lord, no, I ain't come for this, cause this is an overload. She could tell her about he outside turn and he got one on the way. That's when I remember what my Grammy said to me. Keep people business out your mouth. Keep people business out of your mouth.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
It's so summer with Esso, and that's why we're giving away thousands of dollars in fuel, food, and other fun prizes every week. Simply fuel up at $25 or more. Enter using your receipt, and you could be a winner this summer with Esso. Terms and conditions apply. It's so summer, or our Facebook page for details. Promotion ends August 29th, 2021. It's fun! Food, fuel, and other great prizes every week. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
I love reggae. I love reggae. Everybody loves Rick and Spray. The little children love Rick and Spray. They love the Rick and Spray. They love the Rick and Spray. Oh, everybody loves Rick and Spray. Took my baby to the dance last night, and much to my surprise, when we got there, she hit me with the news right.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Don Sargent. And this morning we are going to get all the details about BASE, Bahamas Association of Shore Experiences. It's a new initiative with the Tourism Development Corporation. Here to tell us all about this, very pleased to welcome Interim BASE Director Denise Johnson and Tourism Development Corporation Linkages Manager and Chief Protocol Officer Craig Mortimer. Long titles there, but good morning. Great to have you both with us today.
Good morning.
All right, we've had Janet Johnson on before talking about the TDC, but for those who might not be familiar with it, just remind us what it is before we get to talking about BASE. What exactly is the Tourism Development Corporation?
Okay, the Tourism Development Corporation is, think of us in terms of the corporate arm of the Ministry of Tourism that focus mainly on the development of entrepreneurs in the tourism industry.
Okay. All right, so that's important. That's very important. All right, so where does BASE come in all this? And what does it stand for again?
Okay, so BASE stands for Bahamas Association of Shore Experiences. It's an umbrella organization for primarily small and mid-sized within the tourism industry, both directly and indirectly. This covers a broad spectrum, however, companies, but we want to focus primarily on those whose revenues are directly impacted by the ease and flows of the tourism industry. More specifically, businesses such as tour operators, accommodation providers, food and beverage, transportation, attractions, trade and travel, events and conferences, tourism services, marine operators, they are all welcome to join our organization.
Okay, so what happens when you join? When you're part of this, then what?
Okay, so some of the benefits of joining BASE, they include, we intend to raise the standards and establish new best practices for the economies of scale. These businesses and groups will also, through the TDC, be allowed to give input on policies and legislations that will impact their line of work. All right, BASE will also lobby to advocate for balanced policies as given to other tourism businesses, specifically hotels. For example, like with the Hotel Encouragement Act and a worldwide promotional opportunities and promotions.
Yeah. All right. So again, how many people do you think, how many different companies do you think this will apply to?
It is a broad spectrum.
Yeah.
So when we say an umbrella organization, we're looking at persons who are part of other associations like the Vacation Rental Association of Marinas, the marina operators, the food and beverage operators. So we're not saying that we are separate from them, but we want to partner with them so that we can move forward on higher standards, policies, and we can have a unified voice.
Yeah. So safety in numbers there.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
All right. So long term, how do you think this will change the tourism product here in the Bahamas? When this is up and running in 5 years, 10 years, what will be different?
Of it right now.
Yeah.
With persons who are making contributions right now to the initiative that we've started just prior to COVID. And so persons like Denise and those persons who are in the industry already, they're contributing. And so they're affecting change now. Persons are looking at the pandemic, and I was listening to your show talking about the vaccine,
Mm-hmm.
and persons are looking at the pandemic in such a way. But those of us in base, we are looking at it and we're saying, this is an opportunity. You know, Bahamians are spiritual, and we look at Joseph and what he said to his brothers. You know, y'all might have meant it for bad, but God meant it for good. He sent me ahead to prepare for this 7-year drought that's coming. Okay, I'm not saying the pandemic is going to last for 7 years. God forbid.
Right?
But we're saying this is an opportunity for us to reshape the tourism industry. This is an opportunity for the small man to have a more powerful voice in reshaping what the industry will look like moving forward, and the contributions that we will make moving forward. And this umbrella association isn't anything new. You know, we've done it before in the 70s under Norman Solomon. And in fact, we used the same acronym that he used back then. And we see the success of it in other industries, in Jamaica, in the Philippines, in India. They're successfully having umbrella corporations, associations, I should say, and they're banding together and they're lobbying the government for meaningful changes. And here it is now. You know, there is power in numbers. And if you look at an association and you say, this represents 20, 30,000 people, the powers that be and the policymakers are going to take a second look and say, wait, we better listen to what they got to say, because they are our constituents.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about what in the past. What were some of the examples of what was done and what we're hearing so far from the members? But what were some things that were done in the past?
And Norman Solomon, or
Yeah.
just recently? All right, Norman Solomon, you know, he was a champion for the cause of the small entrepreneur in the tourism industry, and he was able to affect change. He brought about changes in the training that took place. He contributed to some of the programs that government have in place today. And persons don't know this, but you know, the Ministry of Tourism spearheaded the Bahama Host program. But Norman Solomon was one of those entrepreneurs under base that promoted and that brought about change that now it's almost mandatory for persons entering the industry to take the program. And so there's things like that that took place in the past.
And what we're seeing so far, what are we seeing some of the things that some of the members are calling for and agitating?
Well, one of the concerns would be the lack of recognition by the government agency, for example, with the NIB. When assistance was given during the pandemic, this resulted in loss of wages for long-term periods of time as they were not considered tourism businesses. So that's just one of the more direct concerns that companies, small businesses, were not considered tourism businesses per se. So we want to make sure that we are identified, clearly identified, to be recognized. Another concern was is the lack of say in the tourism industry. You know, people look at the larger organizations as the tourism industry, like the large resort hotels. But there are support services and other tourism entrepreneurs that really carry the industry as well, because, you know, once they've checked, a guest has checked into their hotel, support services such as food and beverage, such as tours, they're the ones who interact one-on-one with the guest. You know, we also have a say in the industry. As a matter of fact, I'm one of the, for myself personally, I'm one of the first point of contact when the guest books. And so we want to make sure, I didn't benefit from the NIB. I wasn't considered a tourism entrepreneur. But we want to be able to be identified as some of the forerunners in the industry, and we contribute to the industry as well. So, you know, coming under this umbrella association will, one, identify us as tourism entrepreneurs, and two, will give us a seat at the table so we can raise the standards and we can benefit like everyone else.
Now, I know with a number of the businesses you named, they're going to be part of this. They are right now in limbo as it relates to the pandemic and whether they can open, and a lot of challenges there. What can be done through base? Can anything be done? Are they just going to be lobbying, or what happens? What happens to members who are not allowed to open at this time?
Yeah, well, base is working closely with the Tourism Development Corporation. And what we're doing is we're doing our best to identify any funding, and we're sourcing fundings, international fundings as well. And we're trying to identify those things. Like, we're working with CTO right now with a grant to offer technical assistance to tourism-related businesses. And that is going on now. We're partnering with the University of Bahamas in that initiative. And so there are things like that we're doing through the TDC and through BASE to help as many members as possible.
Yeah. All right. So what do you have to do to become a member?
Okay, so to become a member, we'll be launching our first AGM this month, July 29th, I believe, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
It's going to be on Zoom, virtual, and so we want persons to contact can leave them with that information. Yeah. But we want them to contact our administrators. It's $200 membership fee per year to join, and $100 thereafter per year. So they'll contact the TDC, and then they can go from there. I think they can also log on to the website, TDC's website, to join.
Yeah. Well, let me clarify just one thing. Mm-hmm. That $200 registration is a one-time registration, and then membership is $100 per year.
Dues after.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we have several positions that are opening on the 29th of this month, and we're asking persons who want to spearhead this initiative and who have the wherewithal to put their name in the hat, And it's going to be nationally. It's not Nassau-centric. It's for the whole Family Islands and persons in Grand Bahama, because the tourism industry is a national industry. We sometimes think of it as Nassau-centric, and so we want to help those persons that are out there. We look at it as, and each member part of the body is important. I think of my dad told me a story when I was really young. He said that the body got together and decided that who's the most important part of the body, which part is more important. And the brain said, it's me. And the heart said, no, it's me. I pump blood all over the body, And the brain said, I control it. I tell what to do. And so the neck didn't say anything, but he just tightened up and tightened up. And the more he tightened up, the brain started getting woozy and dizzy. And then the heart could not pump fast enough, and it started to back up. And so before they faint, they all came together and said, oh, we think it's the neck. The neck is the most important part of the body. But what we're saying to say that every part of the body is important. And so those persons on the Family Islands who have been neglected, I was talking to an agent in Inagua, and he said, we're neglected.
Wow.
Why didn't the cruise industry come to us? We have a port that receives containers, massive containers, almost the size of cruise ships now. Stephen Fox, that is. And he's saying, why we didn't choose them? We have all to offer. And so we're saying, through BASE, we can lobby an initiative like that to say, hey, this is an ideal fit. It's a glove fit, guys. Cruise ship can go there. They have amenities there. They have things to do there. It's the eco-tourism capital of the Bahamas.
Right.
And so BASE could say every member is important. We're just not lobbying for those persons who've been lobbied before or who have a voice before.
Right.
We're saying for those persons, with the invisible person, the no voice person, now is the time to step up.
At that point, Craig, you may want to let them know about the relationship that TDC does have with the port authorities, where, we can open the door to conversations like that.
Yeah. And even though we're a government agent, we do operate like a private corporation, and we act as the go between our clients and the government, and
All right. So some of these groups have their own unions or associations. So how does BASE work with that? Are you supplanting them, or what's going to be the difference there?
As I said earlier, we are welcoming all of the tourism entrepreneurs and association. As a matter of fact, if you're a part of a board, I think we're also looking to network in the form of having a representative for the various organizations, a voice from each organization, because we don't want to be sitting to the table speaking about policies when we don't have a representative for your particular sector. So someone from, for example, the marinas operators can sit on the board and represent as, that person from that organization, or the food and beverage, or the vacation rentals. right? So we want to have persons from these organizations who can sit. As a matter of fact, I also sit on the board of the Hotel Association. And so when the conversation comes up, I can speak on behalf of our other tourism entrepreneurs. So it all works in one union. We don't work separate. And I think Greg gave a good analogy of that, where we come together as one. But just to bring the conversation down a little bit, I don't want people to feel like it's all about legislation and policies. We also want to offer, educational opportunities. We have forums. You spoke about health and safety earlier with the vaccines, but we have a WTTC Safe Travel decal that can go on your website, that can go on your businesses, just to tell your guests that you are following safety and health standards. So that's just some of the few other benefits that we have to offer as well. So we want to be able to assist ourselves internally as well, and not just look to the government. I know there's a stigma that you bring forth concerns to the government and it takes forever, but we want to be able to help ourselves as well. And so there are a lot of other benefits that we want to offer each of these organizations and facilitate on a different level, because the conversation I sit in many of the other organizations as well, and the conversations are primarily geared towards revenue generation. So we want to be that support organization where we can now talk about educating, right? Meeting safety standards, attending forums, networking, and all of that other stuff, bulk orders, purchase orders, encouragement acts. We want to talk about that kind of stuff while you guys continue to work on your revenue, but we want to make sure that we are making changes as it relates to the Constitution, the legislation.
All right. If you have any questions, give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, or text us, 422-4796. We're talking about BASE, the Bahamas Association of Shore Experiences. So, again, let's talk about the general meeting, the annual general meeting, and you mentioned some of the positions, but can you tell us more about those that you're looking to fill?
Oh, yeah, we have chairman, vice chairman, secretary, treasurer, and director's position. And then there are members from the associations, as Denise said, that will sit on the board as well.
Any particular criteria you're looking for there, or just whoever's nominated, if you can get that's how it works?
Well, there must be a paid base member, must be paid up, and then there's a vetting process to make sure that the person is capable of taking on that position. And then the nominations is sit down, and then an election is held. And so that's good. What I like is the liability insurance, and this is a major benefit for base members. In the past, we've worked with entrepreneurs, and then you're talking about partnering with the larger entities, the cruise industry, and some of the other larger players. One of the things they require is a minimum amount of liability insurance, and that's been a struggle for the small entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so we have the ability through BASE to now purchase that liability insurance through a Bahamian agent that represent a company that is recognized definitely by the cruise industry. And so they've already signed off on that. And so it's recognized because the cruise industry recognizes it. The larger players here in the Bahamas are recognizing it as well. And so now here it is. I'm a small operation, 5 employees. It's within reach for me to have $1 million liability insurance or $2 million liability insurance, whatever is required of me to partner with these larger things. And so we're talking about linkages now. And so that benefit for those members.
So you're talking about people who do excursions, jet ski operators, those sectors. Okay.
Even when it comes to the vendors in terms of the hair braiders and stuff, because they need liability insurance as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's scary, but I'm sure. So this will be a great thing. When is that going to be firmed up?
Well, as soon as and that's we're going to hit the ground running as soon as after the general election. That's what the members are going to do. The new elected members are going to do. The new elected leaders are going to do. We have the insurance company just waiting on us to give them the numbers. These are the amount of persons that are applying for the insurance. Here is the breakdown on the percentage of discount that we can give them. And so we're just waiting to go.
So far, and though it's only been a few weeks, but so far, how many members do you have, and how is that looking like?
The interest is high. Memberships are coming in daily, so I can't even give you a number off the top of my head because it's growing daily. The numbers are in and they're growing.
It's excellent.
Yeah, I know that in our group alone, there are over 200 entrepreneurs. So we're inviting more persons to come on board.
All right. Oh, so how do they do this? Where do they get the information? Tell us that again.
Okay. They can go to the Tourism Development Corporation. We have a website. You can go to our website. Is the Tourism Development Corporation Bahamas.com, or they can now contact us directly to our office. And here is the number. 603-4850, and they can hit us up there, or they can send us an email to me, Craig, at tdcbahamas.com, tdcbahamas.com, Khadijah at tdcbahamas.com as well. And as I said earlier, tdcbahamas.com is our website, and you can get all the information that you need there. And as Marlene indicated, we do manage WhatsApp groups, business WhatsApp group, entrepreneur WhatsApp groups, and the numbers are astounding. And we have WhatsApp groups for all of the major islands. And so we have for Andros, Bimini, Abaco, Exumer. And not only do we have the categories of the islands, we have WhatsApp group for the subject matter as well, like bone fishing, and we'll have a WhatsApp group there, water sporting group. And so the TDC manages a whole lot of groups on WhatsApp, and those type of information will be passed on to base once it's fully organized and up and running, and that will be their clientele.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just want to encourage everyone to come on board. No need to feel left alone on basis here to assist. And we want, like Craig said, all of the bright minds, all the champions to come on board, because we don't want to speak for you. We want you to have a voice for yourself.
All right. And don't forget the annual general meeting. That's soon, Thursday, July 29th. And so keep us updated. This is very exciting stuff. I hope people are paying attention to this. But keep us posted. Come back and let us know how things are going. Greatly appreciate it. Denise Johnson and Craig Mortimer with base in the Tourism Development Corporation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, we're going to take a break and be back after the news. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Let's go through the Bahamas, have fun with me. Lots to do and lots to see. Many islands to pick and choose. You may fly or take a cruise. I'll take you to Nassau, the capital. Watch a Junkanoo festival. Then to Gad Island, eat flour cakes into the rake and scrape.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, July 20th, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. This morning, we are very pleased to be talking with Bahamas engineers, architects, and allied professionals. They have a special webinar coming up, and they're going to talk about that and the industry driving innovation and change. We are very pleased to welcome back to the show two of our friends here, Sonia Brown and Marcus Lang. Welcome. Always great talking with you.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas.
Hope all is going well.
Yes. We're excited to be hosting this webinar, and we're happy to be on the show.
All right. It is our pleasure. All right, so tell us about the Bahamas engineers, architects, and allied professionals before we get into the webinar.
I'll start. So BEEP, as we call it, was formed, I think, around 5 years ago. We are a group of consultants in the construction industry, architects, engineers, environmentalists, and we were formed to really promote our businesses and to promote the industry and to work for change in the industry.
All right, so when you say that, and again, that's going to be the theme of the webinar, the change, need for change, and reimagining the industry. Changes like what? What are some of the issues that you feel need to be?
Well, definitely.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that we want to focus on is more involvement of Bahamian consultants, professionals in the industry, ensuring that Bahamians have opportunities because they are qualified to do so for those that where there may be skills gaps, and then also looking at how our industry impacts the environment and partnering with the government and other environmental organizations to ensure what we're doing is safeguarding our environment.
If I can also add, we also want to see how we can streamline a lot of the government approval processes.
Yes.
Because we feel that there's a lot of pent-up opportunities resting on desks in government agencies, projects that are waiting to be approved. And, they can be a foreign direct investment project or they could be a single family dwelling. Our approval process needs to meet the 21st century demands. It should be online, it should be streamlined, and it should be timely. And those are some of the changes we desperately need.
Yeah, and those things tie directly to GDP as well. So, income for the government, taxes, persons being able to move on, contractors being able to get projects and execute projects, all of these things tie to what we're trying to do.
All right, so you said a mouthful just now. Let's talk about some of those. Okay, so do you feel, and how bad is it that you're being overlooked for groups maybe outside of the country? Explain that to us.
Well, so there's a combination of things happening. So I will say that I've been the beneficiary of being able to work on very large projects, the largest, the redevelopment of the international airport, the Bahama project, Point, the Light. That was in part due to legislation being passed, the Engineers Act, and we also have the Architects Act that ensures that a local professional is ultimately responsible for any project that happens in the country. I think where we have a gap is that these investors coming in don't always know who's out there. So that's a part of the reason for forming BEEP, so that there's more awareness of the professionals who are out there. So we have a part to play. But we could also include, let's say from the level of the Bahamas Investment Authority, we should ask these, especially the FDI projects, foreign direct investment projects, when they are given a list of requirements, how come they're not asked to identify their construction professional? Okay? They're asked for other things like their lawyer.
Yeah, it's really making use of the talent and expertise that's here, allowing the government and our organizations to sort of prioritize the exposure for these personnel, because the people are here. And the funny thing is, you have a lot of times where an entity comes in for a direct investment project, they've brought their is inefficient or insufficient, is lacking, and they still end up leaning on the local professionals. So there's a lot to be gained by having the locals involved that are qualified.
Yeah. We're going to get back into the details about the webinar in a bit, but you do have a number of cabinet ministers scheduled to be a part of this. How confident are you that they get it and that there will be changes?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is to sit at the table with people and talk to them and explain. So the mere fact that they're participating in this event is an indicator that they're open to having the conversation. And, I'll use the example of the Engineers Act. It took over 30 years to get that passed, but we don't want change in the industry. The further change we're asking for to take another 30 years, but I'm just saying it took time. And then when the act was passed, things changed for consultant engineers rapidly, you see. So we have to engage with those persons. I know that, for example, the Ministry of Works sent out a tender for the electronic submission of drawings. That was maybe 2-3 years ago. I don't know where it is right now, but it's our duty as the professionals to keep reminding them of it. Just a little anecdote, somebody asked me about how to submit drawings, and they found it incredible that they actually had to print out the drawings and take it to the Ministry of Works in 2021, that they weren't actually able to just submit it online. So, the expectation is out there, and when all these things come together, sometimes that's what it takes to make change.
My goodness. Oh, so I'm finding this fascinating. 30 years. What happened? What was the issue? What was the holdup?
Well, some of the holdup was within the engineering industry itself. I think for some, this would have been way before my time, as professionals, sometimes we don't see the bigger picture, that we can have differences, but the bigger goal is to get this act passed because it's better for everybody. And this is kind of the philosophy with BEAT. We have persons who are completely different areas of specialty. We know that if we work together, we can improve the industry. And I just want to bounce off of something that Marcus said, that, I've been in many situations where investors have brought in their team of specialists. And we would serve, let's say, as in an engineer of record capacity, where we would have to review the drawings that have been prepared by professionals overseas and comment on them. And we end up developing such a level of trust with the persons we work with and respect that we end up getting more work than they intended to give us, because they realize that, hey, they can do it. They know the Bahamas better than anybody else. And, they're committed to getting it done.
Wow. And I would say that, our goal is not to be controversial. Our goal is to work in tandem and partnership. This will be the second seminar we've had. We had one before the pandemic in person at the Hilton. We had government personnel there. And after that, and after the discussions, we were invited to participate in policy and legislation that started to come up after that discussion. So we've had some areas perked up, and we want to continue to partner and try to just show that there are things that can be done better, that helps government and helps us local professionals as well.
And I think the most important thing is when they invite us to comment on legislation, that we actually follow through. We actually submit those comments and we let them know what our opinions are, because, they can be changed.
Right.
But one of the things that's also dear to my heart when it comes to this conference is the conversation around education. Because for too long, the construction industry has been, okay, you cannot read too good, you cannot write too good, so go in construction.
Yeah.
And that mentality has really crippled us to the point where when I'm on a job site and the skilled professionals are Latin America, South America, and the Caribbean, the skilled electricians, skilled carpenters, you name it, because so you have the construction professionals, the engineers, the architects, but people aren't aware that there are so many other stakeholders that play a key part in construction, the construction supervisors, these specialist engineers, persons who can do audio, visual, IT. These are the areas. Bahamians can do that. All it takes is hard work and for that message to go out there that if you're ready to work hard, you're ready to persevere, you can be successful in these very lucrative six-figure careers. And I'm not talking about just the engineers and the architects. And, and so we're here to increase that awareness and to help to rebrand the construction. This is where you should be directing your students as an option. And I must say, as a woman, it's a woman in construction.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, that's a big deal there. I mean, this is the whole country almost is talking like this. Oh, boy, you better go find a trade since, as you say, you're not doing well in school. How will you combat that notion that this is what needs to happen? This is the fallback if everything else fails.
Well, what we have been doing from the point of view of the Bahamas Society of Engineers, which is another organization that I'm a part of, we partnered with the Ministry of Education this year and last year, and we went into, this year we did it via Zoom. I had a session with some sixth grade students at Palmdale Primary, and I actually ended up having 2 sessions with them. They were so excited about it. We went back. And, they just talk to them about the field, let them know what's out there, let them see Bahamians. We had this video of this Bahamian who works for NASA that we played. I just let them know that the sky is the limit. And so it's you kind of have to do those little intimates, these big things where you have to be willing to go and talk to small groups as well and spread the word. The year before that, I visited C.I. Gibson that had a huge class of students who were studying technology. And I talked to them about the freedom of, like me, I was able to transition into working for myself. And, and so that gives you the salary and it gives you the flexibility when it comes to your family, especially, as I say, as a woman in construction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, similarly, a lot of our partners and members have been doing similar things. Nick Dean with IBS holds the Build a Bridge Challenge.
Right.
That's an amazing way to expose high school kids to engineering. TDG Architects normally does mentorship programs and participate in a lot of the University of the Bahamas critiques when they critique the thesis projects by the students. So there's a lot of small things going on. But we want to have big impact. BTVI has been doing a good job as well as it starts to go from strength to strength. We have got major players in some of the major businesses, hotels, as far as engineering and project management. So we're getting there, but there's a lot more that can be done. And we really want to push and help the government and help the Bahamas to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I want to get back to some of the things you mentioned, especially this backlog, what can be done there, and more of your concerns and where you see the industry heading, and we'll get some details about the webinar as well. We have a lot more to talk to Sonia Brown and Marcus Lang with. They're with BEEP, the Bahamas Engineers, Architects, and Allied Professionals Group, and we'll be back with more Boarding Glen Business in just a bit. Stay with us.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. future generations. You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details.
Turn the keys to your own home with CIBC First Caribbean. We'll give you time to relax when you move in by waiving your first 3 monthly mortgage payments and commitment fees. Get up to 95% financing on your mortgage, Visa Gold or Platinum credit card with 5,000 bonus reward points and more. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/realtors-hub to connect with a realtor to make the home search easier. Finance your new home base with CIBC First Caribbean. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for details.
It's time for your morning business report. The Ministry of Agriculture and Maritime Resources seeking buy-in from local farmers and fishers to establish contributory insurance for the sector. Minister Michael Pintard says his ministry is still in discussions with regional and international organizations to develop an insurance plan for the sector based on its vulnerability to increasing climate disasters. He was speaking during a virtual panel discussion held by World Central Kitchen on the topic, creating resilient food systems in the Caribbean. He said the policy space they believe is critical in making sure that they have insurance in place. You can read more about his comments in today's Guardian business section. With the number of AstraZeneca vaccine doses running low in the country, a leading member of the pharmaceutical community says the government needs to loosen its grip on sourcing vaccines and allow the private sector to step in to provide any of the 4 vaccines approved for entry into the country. As it stands, travelers entering the Bahamas do not have to present a negative COVID-19 test if they are fully vaccinated with AstraZeneca, Moderna, or Pfizer vaccines. It's unclear how many doses of the vaccine are left in the country as the government awaits another 33,000 doses from the third tranche of the COVAX facility at the end of the month. The well-respected pharmacist saying it makes no sense that the government would not access the buying power of local pharmacies to make vaccines available to those who don't mind paying for the jab. You can read more about the comments from this pharmacist who wished to remain anonymous in today's Guardian business section. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Monday, your market movers, AML Foods Limited, moving 50,000 shares, down 30 cents, closing at $6.20. Cable Bahama Series 6, moving 75, unchanged at $1,000. Consolidated Water, unchanged at $2.46. Emir Incorporated, up 2 cents, closing at $11.21. The BISX All Share Index, closing at 1,968.08, up, or down rather, 1.36. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
my friends.
Welcome back to Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan speaking with Beep, Sonia Brown, and Marcus Lang, representing the Bahamas Engineers, Architects, and Allied Professionals. On with us this morning, we are going to talk about their special webinar in a few minutes, where we're just getting an assessment of the industries right now, where things stand. You mentioned a few minutes ago about the backlog. Let's talk about that. How bad is it, and what can you do to help there? What are we talking about specifically?
Well, I mean, just in terms of projects being approved at the various government agencies, it's still a very manual process, and it operates, and I apologize for being an engineer, it operates in series as opposed to parallel. So, you know, you have a drawing, it moves from one desk, and when that person is finished with it, it moves to another desk, and, you know, and these systems can very easily be updated to, for example, if you're submitting a set of drawings, you should be able to submit it on an online platform where it is marked with the date. You get a confirmation that it's been received. At that same time, you should know, well, I can expect to receive a response in 60 days from now. And of course, if the drawings are available electronically, all of the inspectors can look at the drawings at the same time. That's one side of it in terms of getting through the permitting process. And then in terms of investors, we know of projects where we've worked on where investors, they contact you, they're interested in working, but they just can't seem to get an approval. They really need to be, there should be clear steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how you get an approval. You have these things in place, you get it approved, whatever. But, we need to move to a point where we see more transparency and more efficiency, because that's a lot of money to me.
Yep.
That is just, we're not capitalizing on the the interest to develop, not to the extent that we could.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Every one of those projects, that's fees for the projects to be approved. Once that project is engaged, you have the contractor and their workmen, you have the lunch people, you have those contractors being able to pay their license fees and taxes. It's a domino effect that exponentially impacts the amount of money that can flow through the country at one time. Mm-hmm. So that approval process of revenue. And
we also have to count in the discouraged investors who just eventually give up and leave.
And that happens more often than you know.
Wow. So let's talk some more about the other changes that are needed, and what you are envisioning the construction industry would look like in 5 years, 10 years in this country.
Well, for me, again, it would be the streamlined approval process. It would be a construction industry that has more Bahamians involved at the senior levels of construction. When we often hear politicians talk about, this project is going to create a lot of jobs, we're really talking about maybe the very low level areas of construction where those jobs as well. But we are not doing a good enough job in terms of training electricians, carpenters, quantity surveyors, and the like, to really take advantage of those very senior level positions in construction. And yes, we do have BTVI. I believe that we can work more closely, meaning the industry really needs to work more closely with BTVI, so that when somebody is undertaking a training course, for example, they actually could be an apprentice along, let's say you're doing an electrical course. You do an apprenticeship, or you're a carpenter, you do an apprenticeship. So you get to understand what the real world of work is like. As an example, I have two engineers who are interning in my office right now. They're both studying electrical engineering. We took them out on site, and they said, this is nothing like what we're learning in school.
Wow.
So you have to expose persons to the real world so that when they do they complete their course of study, they don't just have a piece of paper and they're ready to learn. If the internships and the apprenticeships work hand in hand while you're studying, then you come out of that learning institution better prepared to benefit your employer.
Yeah,
Marcus.
I think overall we need to look at our industry more seriously and plan what we want it to be. A lot of the things we're doing are kind of like band-aid fixes and trying to make do, but we need to look at our industry from the ground up, from the primary school level all the way through, kind of anticipating what's needed, looking at the skills gaps, starting to encourage students to go in certain areas that we know is foreign dominated or skills that needed to be improved. So you move from the school to the university to the professional area, and you want to give incentives. Companies can get incentives to bring on students as trainees, or to give them exposure, empower more, and the University of the Bahamas more in just sort of pushing for programs in areas like right now to get training in areas that we need. There may not be degree programs or professional programs that allow persons to get trained, be certified internationally, to be able to do, say, an air conditioning system on a major project, or to be able to do design for a specific specialty area that the Bahamas may need in 5-10 years. So we should be preparing for the 5, 10, 15-year point where we're saying that the Bahamas wants to do something in marine engineering, or we want to do something in naval architecture, or we want to do something in a specialty healthcare area. We should have persons incentivized, scholarshiped, lined up to be able to fill those roles so that we don't have to bring foreign persons in. We're always going to build airports. We should have specialty persons dealing with all the aspects of airports, from design, engineering, the baggage system. The baggage system alone is a specialty area. So we should be intentional about what we want to do as a country, know what those areas are that we're lacking, and start from a very, very early stage to train and have persons that are qualified to do those things, from a higher level to a very basic level as far as electrical and plumbing even. University and BTVI should be tied in, and programs should be available for us to be able to fill those voids so that the Bahamas can be self-sufficient. I mean, in a 10-year period, you can have a plethora of professionals that are trained and can work anywhere in the world if focus is put in those areas.
And it could be our next great export.
Yep.
Technical professionals. Why aren't we the world expert in resort designs? Is something that I've always wondered. We have some of the biggest resorts in the world, and so, these talents, we should offer them here in the Bahamas and also, export them. The other thing that we need to be extremely mindful of as we develop our construction industry, and I like the word that Marcus used, the word intentional. We need to be intentional about protecting our environment. We have billions of dollars of assets laced a very vulnerable coastline. And not only is the asset important because it's expensive, it is also a major source of revenue generation, tourism, right? And so we need to make sure that when we are building with resilience, we're building with the environment in mind, and everybody in the Bahamas should be able to do that if we equip them with the information. You should know, we should have flood maps available when you're purchasing a home. Here's the flood map for that area, and that informs you. Do I really want to buy this lot at this cost? Maybe I spend an extra $5,000 and buy the lot up the street. And we should also have no-build zones as well, And so the thinking really needs to be how do we sustain our beautiful country that we've been, cherished to, be responsible for.
Yeah. How far are we from, especially the part in training and this synchronized system that you're envisioning there? How far are we away from that, or do we have a long way to go before we can get there? Do we?
Dwight, are you referring to the approval system?
What you talked about how when you focus and you say that we want to start from the young, from primary school, high school, and have this feeder system almost, and have people all on the same page. How far away are we from that? And
that needs a sort of a higher level coordination, because the government can only do so much. Coordination of across ministries isn't the government's strongest area. I think it has to happen from the professionals giving guidance to the government, making suggestions, working with those partners to develop those things. We after a number of years, the university finally has a Bachelor of Architecture program that had its first cohort graduate this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that means I not have to go abroad like a lot of us had to and spend that money abroad. We can also now bring persons in to train. It needs to be looked at as a whole system. You start to identify what the gaps are, what the needs are from the industry, and then government incentivizing the university and the BTVI and whatever other institutions pop up. You allow them to be able to put these programs in place to feed into these. So it'll have to be from, let's say, architects, engineers, contractors association, guiding government and decision makers as to what is required, what training is needed, where can this be implemented. So on that note, I would say the government just needs to make sure they back their professional boards, make sure their boards are active, make sure their boards are actually doing what they're supposed to do. The professional architects board, the engineers board, the contractors association, give them the resources to be able to do the job. Because trust me, their responsibility is broad, but the government just needs to make sure that their boards are up to organizations like ours are also there to help, and we have the resources to do what we need to do.
All right, let's take this call, and we invite others to call in as well. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. We're talking with Sonia Brown and Marcus Lang with B-Bombs Engineers, Architects, and Allied Professionals. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Especially at the point where it was mentioned about Palmdale Primary, where he went in the grade 6 class to, as it were, assist with some maths, and also the point that was mentioned that person that directed into construction because, let's say, they're slow academic learner. I am fully in agreement with your guest that education, even in the construction industry, need a strong academic foundation, reading, math. So I would like to suggest that we have a program where we make education as cheap as a 99-cent breakfast that we used to have a long time ago. Actually, I'm saying free. And perhaps cut off some of the frills and fringes of having to youngsters in the nation just playing rather than learning. And so our foundation has to be in the schools, see that all our children are learning, and it must be a parental thing. Like the child that won the Student of the Year. The day she won the Student of the Year, the next day she had an assignment to go swimming or golfing or whatever. So the children are taught to keep on learning even when school is closed. And so as we do that and we see that the standard is fully high, then we can meet all the other standards so that we can have our architects and all of that when we get to the tertiary level.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Yeah, we got to keep focusing on that. All right, let's talk a bit about the webinar. As we said, you've got a number of cabinet ministers expected to be part of this. What are we expecting to hear from them? And we've got the Works Minister, Bannister, Environment and Housing Minister, Ferreira, and Financial Services, Immigration and Trade Minister, Johnson.
Right. We don't have the Minister of Education. We do have the Assistant Director of Education, who's responsible for career and technical education. So, I mean, we're hoping to hear what their mandate is in terms of moving this country forward as it relates to technology and construction. Because, I mean, we have talked about it a lot, at the level of the political level, from one government to the other. So I think the intention has always been there to develop the technical and vocational, but I believe what has been missing is the dialogue with the industry, because we know what we need at the end of the day. All right, so I'm hoping that they come with their mandates and advise, how they plan to move forward.
Yeah. Marcus, any views on this?
Well, I mean, just having them in the room is a good thing. Like Sonia said, I think a lot of things that hold a lot of ministers back is their portfolio is so large that they don't get a chance to focus on any one thing. So anytime you get an audience and you're able to put that little seed in their head, I think it's a good thing. So we're hoping that they'll be, engaged. They know us very well. We've talked to them on many occasions. And then not to throw the political thing in there, but it is that season. So who knows? Maybe we'll plant the right seed and it'll grow at the right time.
This is your time now. Yeah. All right. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Pleasant good morning, Brother Strachan, and good morning to you again.
Hi.
As I think Ms. Brown is the lady's name?
Yes, Sonia Brown and Marcus Lang.
Yeah, she said, someone said, after all is said and done, more is always said than done. Under the previous administration, they tried to initiate a national development plan, which would encompass all areas, and was taking an inventory of all of the various sectors of our economy and whatnot, and sought where there were gaps and so on and so forth, and to see how we want to develop our country. But if you don't have a map, any road will get you there, and you may end up going around it in circles, and that's all we do. Every time we will, this government changes, they stop, cancel, and review rather than building on what was before them. And so I'm saying to whoever comes in government that they must sign an agreement with the Bahamas, that we must have a plan for our country. How do we want to develop our country? What our skills gap are? We have professionals in all around the world, I'm sure, who will be willing to come and contribute to the development of this country. And Dr. Miller said that he would invite these individuals to come and participate in growing the Bahamas. That never happened. So we need to have a plan going forward. So any party that comes and don't want to subscribe to the national development plan of this country, please, people, don't give them your vote, because we'll be right back here asking the same question 5 years from now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, caller. Let's stare it back from the politics for a bit. But I mean, he raises an interesting point.
He makes a good point.
Yeah.
The national development issues do have to do with planning, zoning, sticking to those plans. And that's where we end up with a lot of haphazard development. Policies being put in place and policies being followed through is one of our biggest problems here. You hear about people, building in areas they're not supposed to build in, excavating hills for fill, just willy-nilly doing construction on the islands. Mistakes we've made, we should not be making on other islands. The environmental issues we're having, just because of human interaction, we should not be dealing with these things. And policies and follow through is the way to go. So definitely zoning and planning is key for that. And a lot of the professional industry personnel, they are there to assist with that once they are empowered to do so.
Yeah, I was about to say that, governments need to take advantage of the private sector because we are often frustrated by what we see and, what we don't see happening. And many of us are very willing to offer our time and our talent to help government move things forward. And so we'd like to see a bit more of that level of utilization of the private sector, specifically in the construction industry in this instance. But in addition to the National Development Plan, we also have these international, agreements that we have made out there in terms of our goals around renewable energy for 2030. And so championing that, who's really overseeing that. We've made some great strides. I'm sure we never thought we'd be carting our bags to the food store and no longer dependent on plastic bags. So we really made some great strides, but we have so much more that could be done. And, it seems as if there's a bit of the environment in this particular ministry, there's a bit over there being done by BPL. And, it all needs to kind of be brought together under one umbrella. And it doesn't even have to be a ministry. It could be a private, public sector, organization that's really helping us get to those 2030 goals that we've set internationally, right?
Yeah, actually, it was going to be one of my questions. I mean, how much do we need to wait or rely on the government? Can your body just go ahead and push some of these things through, or is that not going to be possible with some things?
Well, sorry, Marcus. When I started in business about 16 years ago, my goal was to encourage people to start using renewable. My goal was to get persons to start using renewable energy and start installing solar systems when I started in business many years ago. And what I found is that they started coming to me with their ideas. So where there's been a void, the consumers have kind of said, this is what we want, and the groundswell has been coming from the consumers. But isn't that always how change happens?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, absolutely.
And so in our projects, what we do is we help to guide that process around being more energy efficient, building for resilience. And when I talk about building for resilience, it's kind of making your building as hurricane proof as possible, so that, so building in the right location, making sure you comply with all the structural requirements and all the like. And so a lot of that is really being consumer driven. And so the government has kind of been brought along.
Right. Yeah. So hey, there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's often, we have to show them the way. Show them the way. Let's take this call before we take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good.
You are on the air.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about, the future landscape of transportation is going to change really quickly with the advent of these electric cars. What are your plans, or what are you talking about in reference to our accommodations for electric transportation?
Oh, in terms of design?
In terms of the design and the build environment.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, some sweeping changes coming fast, very fast. What about that?
Well, they're here.
They are here. Yes.
I bought an electric vehicle almost 2 years ago, and all electric. And, we have been putting in the infrastructure to permit that to happen. We have been, you have to give government kudos for lowering the duties on such vehicles and hybrids. So we're heading in that direction. I don't know if there's any other infrastructure because you have to have the charging stations throughout the country. We do have quite a few in the country already, but I don't know if that's the infrastructure the caller was calling about.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know a lot of that is private and privately paid for versus a public initiative. But
yes, but at the sports center, right? So you have at the sports center, you have at BPL, you do have some areas that are public.
Our new, Marcus, I guess you can answer that. Our new built home owners, are they asking for that to be incorporated? Like, I need a place where I'll be able to charge a couple of cars. Are we talking about that?
Only on the high end, and I was just about to chime in on the alternative energy side of things. Mm-hmm. We started talking about grid tied systems for photovoltaics or solar power, and most of my clients that have done it, the feedback and getting payback and credits from BPL.
Oh boy.
And I don't have a system, so I don't know personally, but these are the things I'm hearing from my clients. But definitely that is a big part of it, because most times the person that's going to have an electric vehicle and they want to charge, they tend to have systems at home where they want to take advantage of the free power. So that's something that also needs to be looked at and refined if it hasn't been already. Mm-hmm. But for charging stations for persons that do have those vehicles, there's a few places that have them. We just did a new service station on Gladstone Road, and on the tail end, it came up and we decided to have one put in, but that was facilitated privately. So more charging stations would definitely encourage more of that, more of the purchases of those vehicles along with the lower duty. So it's more cars are coming out and more places are selling them. I hope we keep going in that direction.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with what you're talking about, but I'm glad it just popped in my head. Everything's going up, the prices are going up, and we still have that cap on the duty where it's at $50,000, although the prices have gone up since we instituted that. So I don't know what certain people are waiting for to increase that, because
that cap needs to be removed. I agree.
The persons that need the relief the most can't afford it.
Absolutely. So my goodness, what do you anyway? That's another show. All right, so let's talk about the webinar. What people need to do to be a part of this on Thursday.
Okay, so we have been circulating the registration link via WhatsApp, but I will give it to you, and you have to pay very close attention. It's bit.ly and then /beep webinar. That is the link to register. I can repeat it: bit.ly /BEAAP webinar to register.
And I've posted the flyer on our Morning Blend Facebook page and our Twitter page. So if you can't remember that, just go follow us if you're not following us already, and the information is right there. All the guests are there.
Or find me or Sonia on social media. We'll have them posted on our pages as well.
Yes. And it's a full day. A lot happening on Thursday.
And it's virtual, so you can do it anywhere.
Right.
You don't have to worry about being on time. You don't have to worry about being seen. You don't have to worry about getting dressed up. Go online, register. It's free. You can chime in if you want. You don't have to say anything if you don't. You just listen. But we want to encourage you to listen. Do it while you're working. These are important things that will determine what our country looks like going forward, which impacts health, safety, and welfare. It impacts education. It impacts tourism. It impacts the economy. It is important. So we want you guys to tune in.
Hey, this is great stuff. Looking forward to this, and thank you both so much. I love having both of you on, and the first time I think I've had you both on together, but this is wonderful. Sonny Brown and Marcus Lang. You're saying something?
Thank you so much, Dwight, and it's always a pleasure.
Oh, hey.
Yes, we appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much. All right. And again, that engineers, architects, and allied professionals, their free webinar is Thursday, Reimagining the Construction Industry, Driving Innovation and Change. Again, the information.
One last plug, Dwight. We want to invite professionals in the industry to join the organization, and that's engineers, architects, allied professionals, which include builders, interior designers, landscape architects, landscape designers, specialty personnel in the field. Feel free, reach out to us. You can Google us, find us online, find us individually, and join. Just become a member. Have your voice heard.
Wonderful stuff. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll talk again soon. Sonia Brown and Marcus Lang. And that is going to do it for us today with Morning Blend Business and Morning Blend. Everybody have a great day. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.